Welcome to the International IMPROVATE Business Conference, a platform for making long-lasting connections, allowing change makers in technology and decision makers in government to make progress through innovation. IMPROVATE is dedicated to finding solutions and sparking collaborations that improve the quality of life for people around the world. Today, the new world of agriculture. We zoom in on southeastern Europe to hear the challenges they're facing in the future of agriculture and how Israeli innovators can help make the changes they need happen. So who are we going to hear from? Well, here with us in the studio is IMPROVATE's founder and chair, Irina Nevzlin. Co-chairing this conference is former Bulgarian President Rosen Plevneliev. Joining us from Jerusalem, the UN Special Coordinator for the Middle East Peace Process, Nikolai Mladenov. Also taking part, ministers from Israel and southeastern Europe. Israeli Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Alon Shuster. Bulgarian Minister of Agriculture, Food and Forestry, Desislava Teneva, Executive Director of Bulgaria's State Fund Agriculture, Vasil Grudev, Bulgaria's Economy Minister, Romanian Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Adrian Oros, Theodoros Karoglu, Special Minister for Macedonia and Thrace, Tugomir Majda, Croatia's State Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, and Foteni Arampatsi, Greek Deputy Minister of Rural Development and Food. And right here in the studio, we'll also be joined by Greek Ambassador Panayotis Saris, head of the Economic Diplomacy Department of the Greek Embassy, Nicholas Christodoulidis, and Konstantinos Daskalopoulos, First Secretary for Economic and Commercial Affairs at the Greek Embassy, plus Dr. Yaroslav Shviet-Karpovich. He's the Scientific and Economic Counselor at the Polish Embassy in Tel Aviv. And of course, we'll be hearing from 7 of Israel's leading agri-tech companies: AgriGo, AgriGreen, GrowFit, Roots, ADAMA, AgroScout, and Groundwork BioAg, each one breaking down their solutions for a smart future in agriculture. And this is all very practical. So watching along with us, representatives of investment funds from around the world looking to invest in Israeli companies right now. Let's start off right here in the studio. Israel's Minister of Agriculture, Alon Shuster, it's great to have you with us. And Irina Nevzlin, of course, founder and chair of IMPROVATE. There is another company we want to bring in that might address some of those needs. This one is leading in agri-tech as well, called ADAMA. They are one of the world's leading crop protection companies. They have innovative solutions for farmers around the world to combat weeds, insects, and disease. Georgiana Francescotti is their global head of ag tech and digital services. She's joining us from Switzerland. Georgiana, thanks so much for being with us. And tell us how today's trends, in your eyes, are kind of transforming the future of agriculture.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us and ADAMA to participate in this conference. It's been really enlightening and very motivating to hear all the different speakers and what the needs are. And, there are several factors of which we heard already this morning, from climate change to the current pandemic that's transforming the way we live our lives today. And in agriculture, I think one of the biggest drivers we see affecting the future of farming is really all about the regulatory rules. We talked about the EU. I heard people talking about the EU Green Deal. And there they want to reduce the use of pesticides by 50% by 2030, or the farm to fork, where we're talking about traceability, sustainability. India is planning to also ban things like active ingredients. China, who wants to see zero growth of pesticides. Governments are very aware of this, but to go beyond that, you have supermarkets, NGOs, consumers like all of us here, who set even stricter rules. And all of this have an impact on farming and on the farmer, right? So if you're talking about today's trends, I think one of the questions we have to ask ourselves is, who is the farmer of tomorrow? He is like a CEO managing a business because of all these different challenges I've talked about, from climate to investments to how do I even reduce, my costs, my need for water, but still produce the kind of quality food that we are asking for, right? So I think the farmer of tomorrow is a consumer of today. And today we're using a lot of technology already in our daily lives. So why not in farming tomorrow? You want to be more accurate in your technologies. And COVID, I think, the whole pandemic that we've been living in the last 7 months, has really proven that there are in our various forms of lockdown, we can continue to work. We can continue to communicate. And this is going to be maybe the new normal of how we work going forward. And I think using technology has maybe motivated other farmers to think, do I need technology? Do I not need? I think this has also helped in the transformation of how they think that, can technology help me? I think it's not anymore a question of, do I need technology, but which technology
what kind of technology? Well, it's interesting that you say that they have adopted to COVID already, that it has become the new normal. I think any hopes people had that this is just going to be a very short temporary situation have long faded. But if technology is so important overall, why is there little adoption relatively, or especially in smaller, medium-sized farms?
It's a great question, because I think some of these technologies today, they are still too expensive for the small and medium-sized farmers, mainly because it's still something very new in the agricultural industry, and so they're not commercially viable. And I think one of the biggest questions, we work with a lot of farmers, and the biggest questions we get back is like, how do I know that the solution is going to work? How do I know it's really going to bring me more yield or lower the cost? Because it is a risk. If I start to use your technology, what happens if it doesn't work? I mean, this is not just one season. We're talking about the seasons of the future as well. This is his livelihood. And I think conferences like this is so important because it brings all the right people to help that farmer. Maybe we can share the risk, share the cost, give him the insurance that if it doesn't work, and I think somebody mentioned earlier, have areas where we can try and really test them on the field, these solutions, before we actually bring them to the actual field and to the markets.
Right, exactly. Our Polish guest was saying that Poland is a ripe territory for testing out technologies before pushing them forward. So given those challenges, before we let you go, what is ADAMA's actual strategy when it comes to addressing them going forward?
Well, at least at ADAMA, what we believe is that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. And I think we've heard it already this morning. People have different needs, every crop, every pest, every country, your whole situation is different. So you can't just build one platform or one solution or one technology and hope that it's going to serve everybody. So in our strategy is really listening. We need to listen to the pain points of the farmer. What stops him from sleeping? Where can we help? Can technology help? And I always tell them, and I work a lot with startup companies. And if there's one advice I can give is collaborate. Focus on what you're good at. What we try to do is we bring the agronomic expertise. You bring the technology. Let's listen to what the farmers need. And together we can find a solution that's going to be a win-win solution for everybody. Yeah.
And of course, those challenges and those needs are changing as we speak, as we've been talking about in this reality that everybody is still adapting to. Georgiana Francescotti at ADAMA, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. And I look forward to collaborating with all of you.
As we come to an end here, let me turn it back over to our co-chair, former Bulgarian President Rosen Plevneliev. So after hearing from ministers, diplomats, tech innovators here, give us your sort of closing thoughts on where it all goes from here.
First of all, let me thank you to IMPROVATE team. You guys, you've done a great job. We're very proud of you. Our moderator, Nurit, you were amazing, and we are all grateful to you too. Speaking about Israeli companies that we saw today, we learned a lot from them. We saw the future. We are ready to grab that future. Speaking about, on behalf of all of the politicians, presidents, deputy ministers, ambassadors, so many people that were with us today, I am extremely grateful that you gave us the opportunity at IMPROVATE to come together. We shared ideas, we shared plans, we shared strategic thinkings and understanding, and we shared the same vision. And on top of that, all those countries we're talking about today, with Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, and others, all of them are strategic partners of Israel, are friends of Israel with deep-rooted cooperation that goes centuries behind. And all of them love Israel and cooperate in all the fields. And here is the message. This conference, we enjoyed so much, extremely and professionally organized on a world-class event that goes to world-class media, the leading media in Israel, a leading business media in the world are listening to us and are going to see how we come together. But this conference is not just ending. IMPROVATE is a platform to bring business, politicians, everybody who is anybody in the ecosystem together. And this is ahead of us. We had a great conference today, but we do have our plans. Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, Croatia are ready in the next months to host delegations from Israel. Israeli companies will see all the decision makers. They will see the big farmers, the small farmers, the very profitable international giants. They will see the potential. They will see and they will learn. And in a 3 days visit, they will be much more involved into what's going on in this market. And again, talking about Southeast Europe, it's a fast and a very dynamically growing market. It's 20 billion euros per year investments in agriculture. It's $80 billion per year market of itself, and it is growing. And there is no other way to grow but with cooperation with the best. And that's you guys from Israel. Greetings and shalom.
Thanks very much, President Plevneliev. A whole lot of potential, as you say, that is ripe and ready to be used and taken forward. Thanks so much for being with us and, of course, co-chairing all of this. And that is it for us from IMPROVATE's international conference, Smart Agri-Tech in Southeastern Europe. Over the last couple of hours, we've heard, of course, from former Bulgarian President Rosen Plevneliev, UN Special Envoy Nikolai Mladenov, agriculture ministers from Greece to Croatia, Bulgaria, and Israel, all across the region, all of them breaking down what their countries need now for a thriving and sustainable future. But most of all, we got a taste of Israel's leading agri-tech companies, all of them excited to provide tech solutions for this region in its transformation. And that is exactly what IMPROVATE is all about, creating those connections. Thanks for joining us.